It's time to go beyond Plus Ultra for Boku no Hero Academia.
Can we get some Brandon was right music? I'd like some was right music right now.
Why?
Well, pretty sure I said something about there being a shared consciousness here, and I feel like All for One all but confirms it in this.
Yes.
So I'd like some, confetti, some nice celebratory Brandon was right music.
And can I have some Brandon with right music on my side by saying that Shiggy for one will be the new body?
I feel like we were both saying this
Okay.
because I about one absorbing the other, one way or another.
Before we get into discussing the episode, I have a question for you.
Uh huh.
What if All for One, or maybe Shiggy for one, was steal Spinner's quirk? What would happen to Spinner?
He'd look human again. The scales would fall off, I guess, and he would revert.
Or if he would take Toru's quirk, she would be visible again. Or like for the mutant quirks, would they
Mhm.
like instantly revert to human?
I would think that's what would have to happen.
But then would Shigaraki or All for One just become a gecko then and have like all the other powers?
I'm not sure. Because, like, we saw him at one point. No, you know what? They wouldn't. I just remembered. There's a scene we see at one point where he switches, like, people's physical quirks like that.
Oh,
Like, he puts his hand on each of their faces and he swaps them.
I
He
th-
doesn't get them at that point at all. So I think he can choose whether or not they become active in him. Because they have to transfer through him. So he would technically have them at that point.
I forget the scene where he changes people's quirks. Like I know that was maybe season 3.
3 or 4. I can't remember which one, but I think it was something that I think it was All Might giving some exposition about what All for One was like. Either him or it would have been Gran Torino, one of the two. They're the only two that would have that kind of background knowledge.
So if he was still a mutant quirk, they would most likely just turn human.
Yeah, that's what it seems like.
Interesting, because I was just thinking that when the real All for One showed up, I'm just like, what would have happened to Spinner?
So here's another thing I've noticed actually. Now that I'm not right before we start. So in the intro, we see Deku wearing like a yellow scarf. That's the tattered remains of Gran Torino's scarf.
Oh,
I realized that as soon as we had that shot of Gran Torino looking at the side of the scarf, I'm like, wait a minute. And I had to go back and like, that's the scarf Deku's going to be wearing.
hmm. So what would that mean?
Maybe it's supposed to be a symbol of his failure.
Of whose failure, Gran Torino or Deku's?
Deku's. His
Hmm.
inability to help, like, save someone or to prevent someone from, being hurt. That's my assumption. I can't think of another reason why he would wear that specifically.
So yeah, this episode starts off explaining what Tartarus is, and it is a counter-quick max security prison about 5 miles from the mainland. Uh,
So I have a problem with this already.
how far was Alcatraz from the mainland?
20-ish, but you were in a bay. This would be out in an ocean.
About 2 kilometers from the mainland.
What's 2 kilometers to mile?
1.25.
Okay, all right. So it's a lot closer than I thought. Either way, you're also in a bay versus like out in the main ocean, I think.
Okay, but it's farther out than Alcatraz was, so
Well, it's also man-made. It's not a natural island like Alcatraz is.
okay.
I do want to point out I already don't like this setup because I'm like, why would you make a singular place where you hold all of these extremely dangerous individuals?
Guantanamo Bay is filled with like high priority criminals. Alcatraz was filled with high priority criminals.
Yes, but these people have superpowers. Like the others are just human. I'm thinking these are superpowered people.
Arkham Asylum was filled with all of Batman's villains.
Yes, and I thought that was stupid too. But also, none of them are like outright superpowered. I don't think Clayface ever went there, for instance.
I think it may depend on this series because I think in the Arkham games, he's in Arkham. I think in animated series at some point he was in Arkham.
Like, most of Batman's villains are not superpowered, is my point. Bane is only superpowered when he's got his drugs. Without those, he's got nothing, right? Like, the only two I can think of are technically Killer Croc, who's just got, stronger than average strength and scales, which, sure, but you
He
can reinforce shit to make that not matter.
he has a crocodile quirk.
Plus, shock collars, if you really want to get fancy with it, because it is supposed to be, not just a prison, but like a therapy area too.
Yeah.
Clayface is the only one I could think of that technically has outright superpowers. I can think of no other Batman villain that has outright superpowers. Like, the Penguin looks kind of like a bird. Ooh, boy. Like, the Joker uses gadgets and bombs like Batman. I don't think any of them compare, other than maybe Clayface, who I can never remember ever being in Arkham, to this shit.
I might be wrong, but again, I think it may depend on the series.
Maybe. There has to be some way they control him, though. But again, I still think it would be dumb. And they don't fare, other than, again, that one example anywhere near any of the people that are in this thing. I would think you'd want to have multiple of these, so this exact scenario could not happen.
Yeah, you do have a point.
Because if one is ever breached, the rest go on full-on lockdown, don't let shit anything in, and all the heroes gather to protect it.
But then again, this is a world of superheroes. Logic tends to go out the window sometimes.
I would disagree, at least in the case of Boku here. They tend to have this pretty well on lockdown as to, like, well, people have quirks, so clearly that has to work somehow, right? The logic of how does a world work when these superpowered beings exist?
Right?
Like, again, I would think you'd have more than one of these, especially with someone like All for One specifically.
Like he should have his own building.
I would think. Or like a full-on separate cell with its own self-contained, like, ceiling around it. Like, think of it this way, right? They were talking about Makia showing up the next day. How the fuck would they have put Makia in here and not had All for One just say a word and suddenly he's rampaging?
Yeah.
Imagine if Makia had been dropped off the day this raid happened.
That would have been horrible. Chaotic.
Nothing would have mattered. Nothing would have mattered. There wouldn't have been any chance of anything getting in the way.
Well, All for One does point out that with Makia being around, it might have caused issues.
I mean, as long as he has enough control on Makia to not, sink the fucking building, he could cause chaos on the top.
Because more dangerous criminals are held deeper in the facility, which is basically at that point underwater.
Mm-hmm.
So I think he did mention the water pressure would have killed him if Makia would have smashed through.
I believe he was talking about his own decay.
Oh yes.
I don't think he was talking about Makia in that regard.
Oh, okay, Shigaraki's decay. That's right.
So at least in regards to that, it was not Makia. It was his own decay ability.
Oh yeah, it was Shiggy for one saying it.
Yep.
Okay.
That was the other interesting bit, because apparently All for One didn't know exactly where he was being held in that prison. The only reason he figured it out is because of the search quirk that Shiggy has.
And what did you think of Gigos and Barrios?
Oh, the two like guards that were at the front,
Like
right?
the multi-armed guards?
I don't know what I felt about them because they were barely there. Like I don't even know what their quirk was outside of we got more arms than normal people.
And doesn't one of the students also have like a multi-armed quirk?
He does, and he can also sprout like other sense organs from like the tips of those.
So do you think the brothers could retract their arms, or are those all like permanently there?
I have no idea. They have what? 6 arms.
I know one of them had 10, one of them has 6.
Really, I'm looking at it right now, and it looks like one has 6 and one has 4. I didn't see 10. At least not in the shot I'm looking at right now.
Well,
No, wait, nope. I see another one, I think, unless that's the other side. I'm not sure if that's the other side or not.
mm,
Yeah, the arm for the other side, maybe. I don't know.
yeah, the picture I sent you wasn't all that good.
Mm-hmm.
Like the angle wasn't there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you don't get a full frontal shot on either of these two, so it's hard to say. Like, not a good one anyway. Because I'm seeing it again, and I'm seeing still only 6 from the shot when, like, the little AT-ATs, I want to say, is what they basically are, start standing up. The blue one has 6. I can see 6 for sure on him. I don't know about the red one. 8. 6 and 8.
According to the Boku no Hero wiki, Barrios or Briarius has 10.
Really, because the shot I'm looking at does not look like it's 10. I'm counting 8.
That's what the wiki says.
Hold on. Let me just give you a shot here that I'm looking at. Just to try and like make it so I'm not crazy here. You tell me how you count that. Because it seems pretty clear from that angle he's got 8, not 10. Unless, like you were saying, they can sprout and retract them.
Right? But there is a shot of him on the Boku no Wiki when he is dead on the ground, and there may be 5 on each side.
That's really inconsistent then. Because, like, I'm looking at this right here, right? Because we definitely saw, like, the 6 arms that have, like, the shoulder pads on them, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the one pair that's sprouting out of, like, the back shoulder blade. That 5th arm does not exist in the other shots. I wonder if that's either animation error or if they're just trying to simplify it and then added this in when referencing, you know, or this was actually maybe another artist that did this part.
Horikoshi forgot.
I don't no I don't think it's Horikoshi. I want to say this is the anime staff.
Anime staff forgot.
Or miscommunicated. One of the two.
Maybe.
Because this right here might have been like a straight panel shot. Whereas as they're like pulling up the guns, it might have been like taken out for simplicity's sake.
Okay.
And it's like, oh, we forgot to tell you to leave that arm out instead of like the 8 he had before.
Okay, but according to the Boku no Hero wiki, he has 10, his brother has 6.
Kind of makes it surprising that they're not holding more weapons then, rather than just the 2 Gatlings.
Yeah. But enough about miscommunication between a number of arms.
No, man, this is important. This is part of the lore.
The lore. The lore is super important.
He's a very important character. He's coming back later, I swear. We're gonna bring him back with the Dragon Balls. Oh my fucking god, somebody has the Dragon Ball quirk. He can only exist when they bring the 7 Dragon Balls together.
So Shiggy for one shows up and just
with all his new friends.
and he just wrecks everybody.
Oh, hold on. I'm sorry. I'm gonna rewind us back for a second
Oh God!
because I just found another like straight on shot. Give me 1 second to pause on it because I'm trying to see here. I'm seeing what 1, 2, 3. I'm still seeing 8 here.
Fine, he has 8 arms.
I'm not saying. Look, I'm not trying to be right. I'm just trying to see how inconsistent this is now. Because I'm like, wait a minute, is that a fifth arm in the back there? But no, those are just like the pouches on his pants. It's so
and
stupid.
and was
Everybody but the guy that drew the dead scene had
and
it right.
and was that one guard talking about mutant quirks or just people with quirks in general? Because he said something along the lines of they blend in so well with humans.
I think he's talking about quirks in general because most of people, other than those that are like, spinner or whatnot,
Hmm.
you'd never guess.
But then they blend in so well with humans. Is he a quirk racist or like?
That's kind of what I got the feeling
Mm,
of. He does mention like the Hearts and Minds party or whatever,
yeah,
but I think that was the one that was like trying to
talk him
work with.
out of it.
Yeah.
Because it's like 80% of the world, I think it's like 80, but they have a quirk, and I would say maybe like 80% of those are non-mutant quirks. Like they are human.
Hmm.
So they blend in so well with humans because they are, dude.
Nope, they're different from me. Therefore, they aren't human. That's literally what racism comes down to: is just he different, me no like different,
Yeah, I guess. And then
and make up excuses for why me hate different.
And then the alarm goes off that Shigaraki is attacking.
Oh boy!
And the Nomus are fighting against their air support. And I know, like, one has, like, some laser beam?
It's not a naval laser.
Oh my god. What do you think All for One would do with that quirk?
He would immediately get rid of it because it draws too much attention to himself. He does not want to be sparkly.
Like, that is the most ridiculous quirk. It would be hilarious if, like, Shigaraki would take it and it's like, boy, this is the most pointless quirk ever. I'm just gonna give it away.
Laser light show. All right, I've had my fun. This can go.
It seems that Shigaraki is still fighting, like, All for One's possession.
I don't know how much he's actually fighting. Like, he's internally arguing with him, but he has no control over the body at all.
But I think he said, like, this is my body, master.
Like I said, they're internally arguing, but Shigaraki still doesn't have any control over anything.
Do you think
What?
he wants control?
Isn't that what he's saying?
Yes.
Of course he does. All for One is clearly not letting him. You see him how he's restricted in there.
Oh, but Tomura, you are my precious, precious next self.
My future me.
And then we have All for One get back in control. He
Or is
crumbles,
still in control. I don't think there was any movement on that at all.
and he crumbles a guard tower with decay.
Goodbye. Surprised there's any survivors in that tower. Oh, hey, look, he uses search and finds himself 500 meters underground. Or, under the ocean anyway.
And he says that even if Gigantomachia would show up, Tartarus would still have the first strike.
Mm-hmm. I mean, he wouldn't have been able to, like, get in there quietly, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Maki is not easy to hide. Oh, other thing I wanted to mention, actually. How long has it been since the fight with Endeavor and everyone to now? Because it
I
seems like it's the same day.
I am guessing it is.
Okay, because I wanted to know if you thought the same. Because I kind of in the point of like, so did the fight end at like 3 o'clock, and like 5 hours later, Shiggy's kind of like repaired enough, regened enough to like do this now? Because like he uses the decay, and he's like, I'm already pushing the body too far again.
I am guessing it is less than 24 hours, maybe even less than 12.
I'm leaning toward like 3 to 5, depending on when we think, because it was still more or less like daytime,
Hmm.
right? I would assume somewhere between noon and 3 o'clock
Yeah.
is when that fight ended,
See,
and this is kicking in at like 8 p.m.
yep, 8 p.m. I was just about to bring that up.
So I'm leaning toward maybe no more than 5 hour, a 5 to 6 hour difference
Yeah.
in time. Which I'm
And
like, oh shit, is Shiggy all healed up now? Because when he first showed up, and then we get the point of him like body falling apart again. Like, well, I guess the regen wasn't enough.
but they keep calling this super regeneration. So is this better than normal regeneration?
It depends on what their definition of regeneration is, I guess. Your body does naturally regenerate, right? Like, what do you think happens when you get like a cut or something? The body heals itself. It's technically regeneration.
I guess in that sense, yes, but just calling it super regeneration made
Well,
me
I mean, it would be that on
question.
steroids now, wouldn't it?
It would.
Again, it would depend on what they're using, what regeneration means in their world and in their context, which hard to say. I can't think of any time they've actually used that term without the super added in.
Yeah. Shigifu 1 also uses an emp attack and opens the cell blocks inside.
Ah, no, he doesn't. He shuts down like the security system, or at least like the cameras and such, but the
And
backup power's still in on the locks and things.
and then all for one?
Yes, original Body All for One uses his own EMP quirk on the inside to shut down the rest of it.
Ah, okay, okay. And then we have a lot of villains free.
Yeah, that's exactly why we had the flashback with All Might being like, "You're never getting out of here," and All for One's all like, "You're right. I'm never getting out of here unless there's another me on the outside."
Now, I remembered Muscular, but I did not remember Moonfish.
Neither did I. I had to look him up again because I thought he was the guy that Red Riot fought, who jabbed himself with the steroids to make his quirk like ridiculous.
Hmm.
I thought that's who that was,
Did you
and I
fi-
had to go back, and I'm like, oh no, oh, I
so
vaguely remember him.
so who did Red Riot fight?
I don't know. I didn't go searching for him then when I
Uh,
found out that Moonfish was not the same
oh,
person.
okay, that's fine, that's fine. But yeah, Moonfish can extend
Mouth
his
knives.
teeth into blades.
Yeah, mouth knives. What was the other one?
Muscular
We get we saw Muscular. Stain was there.
and Overhaul.
Overhaul got out, which he lost both his arms, right? I think Compress took both his arms.
I forget.
I'm pretty sure he took both his arms.
Mm.
Which I wonder what he did with those. Because they'd still be in little marbles. Because I guess technically he could reattach those with the right either, quirk or medical attention. They should be just as fresh as the day they were put in there. I never would have guessed Muscular was in here. That's one thing I was not expecting, to see all of these previous villains show up in here.
Why doesn't Muscular seem as much of a threat to be put in a maximum security prison?
Again, I would have thought there would have been other ones besides Tartarus.
Okay.
Like when they started busting down other prisons, sure, I could have seen him in any one of those. But I was assuming that there were multiple ones. Tartarus was just, the most secure.
So I am going to. I
Like,
don't
because there
want
has
to.
to be more than one just quirk prison.
Yeah, I'm not too sure if I want to give you full points for this because I didn't deny you 100% on this, but Overhaul was freed by the purple-haired woman from the intro, who is indeed a villain.
which we both said at the
No,
start.
no, 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 no. I said she might be a hero, and then you said no by her. I think you said by her pose. The way she was standing seemed more villainous than heroic, and
Yeah, she's supposed to be the threat of this episode as she's looking down at the heroes. Yeah.
or maybe this arc.
Well, yes, this arc. Yeah.
Okay.
Um, her releasing Overhaul is interesting, but like now that we actually get a look at her more in this, she reminds me of Brainwashing Boy a little bit. Like I think it's the eyes
Oh.
is what's reminding me of him.
Oh.
I'm like, are they related? And then I started thinking about it, I'm like, nah, they're too different. There's no way.
But they both have purple hair.
I think his is a single color and it's more dull. Hers is more saturated and it's got like lighter purple streaks in it.
He might have gotten the single hair from his father? Question mark.
Maybe?
I don't know.
Oh, actually, hold on a minute. Speaking of her, there was a bit I noticed during the intro now where I'm like, wait a minute, did we just get a hint at what her quirk is? Hold on, let me see if I can get the shot quick. Come on. Here we go. All right. Yeah, let me quick screenshot this. And then come here, Discord. What is going on with her shoulder? And is that like a piece of wood coming out of it in like the bottom corner?
She is
Like it
um
almost looks like vents, almost. But then I don't know what the wood looking thing is about.
maybe it's because the top looks metal. Maybe she could turn her shoulder into a handgun?
Maybe there's like you said, there's like a weird looking metal thing, and that almost looks like it's a blade coming out from the side of the frame.
Maybe maybe she could turn her limbs into various types of guns, and that sword thing is a
Are they fleshy like the vent looking thing on her shoulder?
I don't know. But like that spike thing could be a bayonet on
It looks like it's pointing back at her though, right? It doesn't look like it's coming out of her.
uh,
Either that or it's attached to the other end of the wood somehow.
oh, I don't know where the vents are then.
I know, right? I only noticed it this time, which is what the second time I think
Yep.
through this intro. And I'm like, wait a minute, this might be a hint, but I can't tell what it is from this shot. It's got so much weird things going on.
Yeah.
Like, obviously, a lot of the like shattered glass is in here from like the way the intro was showing things,
Mhm.
because we had a reflection of Deku that just shattered to show her shit. So ignoring that stuff, what the fuck is it? Because I can't tell.
I I don't know.
I figured I'd bring it to attention just because it was something I noticed and it was interesting. Anyway, Riot Control is coming in to take back the prison, or at least, try. Starts going well right up until Moonfish decides to just, kill everyone in front of him.
Heroes and villains, or like guards and villains.
Yep, they're all getting stabbed through.
And purple hair woman notices something, an event.
Wasn't that Overhaul that she
Oh,
released?
okay, okay,
I don't
okay,
remember her noticing an event. Also,
okay.
yeah, Muscular seems to like break into the main control room of the prison.
Yeah.
And he's like, I'm gonna murder all you bitches. And he does. Because guns can't kill him. Too many muscles.
Bladed weapons are good against him.
Depends on how quickly he like brings back more muscle tendons to repair that.
Hmm. So you're saying our club friend will not be able to do any damage to him because it's a blunt weapon.
Unlikely. I mean, I'm not sure what would happen if you break bones. Would he
Well,
just himself to keep going with his muscles?
well, it does have a holy attribute to it.
It does, although I don't know how much that does to a normal human.
Hmm. Go watch our Elden Ring playthrough. It is quite silly.
Hmm. I do like how Overhaul's first thought the minute he comes out of his like cell is about his dad.
Yeah.
It's like, dude actually seems like he might have been repenting if that's his first word.
And I bet there are some people in Tartarus that are partially reformed.
I don't know. Mostly because it seems like the guards might be super racist, and as such, they probably are very, well, let's just say not gentle with the prisoners. Also, we do see Stain in like a side alley just watching the chaos unfold as everyone's like running their way out. But yeah, Shiggy comes out. He's all like, I'm the best. You should follow me. And then All for One's real self comes up, still holding whatever the fuck that is. I'm still not sure what that is, nor where he got it, if I'm being honest. Oh, it's the medical equipment that's like letting him breathe. That's what that is. Don't know why he has it. Oh no, he had a mask too before, didn't he?
Yes. And
I wonder what the
Spinner
reason is. Is
really.
his body degrading, maybe?
Maybe?
Cancer? I don't know.
Spinner really doesn't like what's happening because you're not the same Shigaraki I wanted to follow. What's going on with you?
Not to mention, All for One escapes on a chopper by mind controlling question mark one of the guards and starts letting loose more villains onto prisons to release even more villains to cause as much chaos as possible.
Yeah, so now 7 prisons. No, including Tartarus,
8.
prisons worth of villains are now free across Japan.
Cut to 5:04 a.m. where yes, Spinner is losing his shit about who the fuck's he's actually talking to. Because this ain't Shiggy.
Yeah,
You're not this Shiggy, I know.
Shiggy was my pal. We would take down the heroes together, but now it seems like we want to kill everybody? What's going on?
Yeah, I don't know. This isn't what I want. I wanted to see the world Shigaraki would forge. Who the fuck are you? You are not the same person. Who am I talking to? But for one's all like, oh man, I respect him. I'm just gonna set it all up and I'll let him finish it. Oh, it's gonna be great. Which, that's not happening. That is definitely not what's gonna happen.
And then we cut to the hospital. And
Hmm.
Bakugo is awake and angry as ever. Where the hell am I?
Yeah, nobody wants to answer him for a good few minutes.
And then we have a scene with Mike, President Mike Nizawa talking to Dr. Yoshi.
Yep.
So did he look like Yoshi to you too or not?
He did not remind me of Yoshi so much as he reminded me of like I'm trying to like place it exactly, but it's like I want to say it was in like an old children's cartoon.
Anime or not?
No, was it Denver the Last Dinosaur? If it's not that, it's something close to that.
Mm. He just reminded me of a blue Yoshi.
He is not a Yoshi. He is not close enough to a Yoshi. That mouth needs to be way bigger, and that nose needs to be way bigger.
Mm.
Also, I don't think Yoshi has those spikes on his head anymore. I think he maybe had those in like the original version of
Mm.
his
I
character.
have not played any Mario recently, or
I mean, the last time we played Smash.
yeah, which was like a few years back.
A couple years, I'd say. Probably like 2 at this point.
And it seems that Aizawa still has erasure because the tag still said that he did.
Uh, it does say that. We don't know if that's true or not yet.
I am still going to say, yes, his slicing leg off saved his quirk.
I'm not saying you're wrong, and I don't think I've ever said you're wrong. I'm saying that he would have had to have been very fast to pull that off.
So
Because if I recall, it's weird actually now that I'm looking at this again. Because I thought I'd have to go back and look. I thought he got caught in the thigh, it caught his boot. That's right. It was down at like his thigh high, or does his calf high boot.
and I thought he sliced his leg off a bit higher.
I did too. I thought it was closer to the knee than where it is. But yeah, Mike and Aizawa are having a little chit chat about things getting bad outside and people getting away.
And civilians are mad. People are rioting.
Mm-hmm.
Civilians are trying to take down the villains by, hey, the heroes can't do anything. We need to take this in our hands.
Yeah, that would go well.
I guess for some people, I'm sure a normal person against Spinner might be able to do something.
Don't know. What I'm honestly curious about is whether or not Spinner sticks around so long as All for One's in charge. Or if he goes off on his own as well.
Is there a chance Spinner could be reformed? Because he just wanted a world where he would be accepted, right?
He could meet up with Toga, and it could lead to the same situation I had mentioned before of them eventually meeting Deku when he's gone rogue.
Maybe?
And leading to a more common understanding of the situation.
Maybe. Because like, right now, I'm thinking that Spinner could be reformed if he would be accepted.
I don't disagree. I think he and Toga are the most likely options now that, like, with Twice gone. But yeah, no, we keep cutting through things. Todoroki's like going over in his head about the whole Dabi situation. Apparently, Endeavor's currently being like worked on medically.
Shoto has burnt vocal cords, so he can't really talk.
Yep, his vocal cords are burnt. Most of his body's covered in bandages from the burns. He kind of realizes at this point that like he's got to take down Dabi because his dad can't. And kind of the connection of where he was at the start of this series is exactly where Dabi has not moved from mentally.
And how will they repair burnt vocal cords?
I mean, recovery girl? They can. He healed.
But I thought she needs to kiss that part of your body.
I didn't think it was that specific part of the body. I just figured it was anywhere in general.
Oh, okay. Maybe?
I thought it just boosted your body's natural recovery ability.
And we find out that Deku is still in a coma.
Oh man, recovery girl, I broke my penis. Can you kiss it and make it better?
Oh, God.
How many people used that idea when she was young if that's how it worked?
Oh, God. Oh, God.
Yeah, it was a horrible sex accident. You know, she turned the wrong way. I turned the opposite way. It didn't go well. So I think you can fix it for me.
And Bakugo is all like, hey, what the hell, Deku? Don't die, or else if you die, I'll kill you.
You forgot about Todoroki's brother, sister, and I believe mom coming to visit him.
I think it's implied that the mother did show up at the end.
I'm pretty sure that's whose voice we heard at the very end, but we didn't get a visual. But yes, then we have Deku rushing to go, or Bakugo running to go and see Deku.
And
with, Great Boy and Sugar Rush there trying to hold him back. Like, you idiot, you're going to bleed to death.
You're going to make this worse!
The more you hold me back, the worse this makes it on my body, so just let me go.
And I just love the line of, if you die, I'll kill you. It's like, you'll kill him again?
Yep. Hey,
So
look, Deku's in body casts.
this
Fucker.
kind of, I don't want to say confirms my theory, but I think I said something along the lines of Deku won't be in much this season or this arc.
I'm going to disagree with that.
Mm.
I'm going to go ahead and say within an episode or two, if it's not this episode, like this coming episode, it'll be the next episode he's up
Okay,
and
so
moving around again.
if not the next one, 2 from now.
Yeah, if not the next episode, the following.
Because it seems that next one will deal with Shoto. Because the title was Hellish Todoroki Family Part 2. When was Part 1?
Was it when Dobby no, that was Dobby Dance.
Episode
I'm not sure.
105.
Was that part of the previous season?
Season 5, episode 17.
Okay, so it was definitely the previous season.
Manga chapter 249, and the next episode will be based on or includes chapter 300, which shares the same name.
So what I'm seeing here is mostly a lot of shots of just things going to shit, and they're mostly still shots. So we're not getting a lot of info here. The last thing we really see on this clip is like Endeavor's awake. He's out of surgery at this point.
So maybe it will deal with Shoto and his past. Maybe diving a little bit into Dobby now that we do know he is a Todoroki.
It's probably going to be a family reunion since the mother's here in the hospital as well. It's probably going to be them trying to, like, if not come together, come to an understanding at least.
And since Endeavor is awake, do you think he'll apologize for his horrible acts?
I'm sure there's going to be that part. Whether or not that apology is accepted is another matter.
Yeah.
I don't think it's going to be accepted. Maybe the mother will accept it and it will lead towards the others, like, while not being able to do it themselves, at least being willing to put the attempt forward.
Interesting. Yeah, because maybe by the end of this series, whether Endeavor dies or not, maybe like his family will come to respect him again.
See, a lot of like figuring out when a character is going to die usually ends up being, well, are they going to finish their act? Their like character arc, I should say, right? Generally, that's the case with most stories. Very few are the ones that cut off a character without ever getting to that point. Game of Thrones is one of those exceptions, for example, where they cut someone off before completing a character arc. It's why it makes it such a shocking series to watch. Series like these, you're going to get a complete character arc almost always.
So
there might be the rare one that happens post death.
So not saying Endeavor will die, but do you think by the end of this series, his family will respect him again?
I don't know if I would go that far, so much as like maybe they'll look at him neutrally. Also, I want to point out we saw Best Jeanist in a nice looking car. It looks sweet, and what I'm pretty sure is Hawks bandaged up and shit.
So next week's is going to be an interesting one.
I'm kind of surprised he's not driving around the Jean Mobile, which just looks like a pair of jeans with wheels.
I mean, that would be a little bit too on the nose, maybe?
Look, man, that car needs to be battle ready, and to be battle ready, it's got to have fibers all over it.
I'm not disagreeing with you, but I'm just saying that would be a little bit too ridiculous, even for Boku no Hero.
The man has a pair of jeans over his face.
I'm not denying you. We'll catch everybody next week.
See ya.